Question 8 of the January 2021 CSEC Mathematics past paper. Now it says the straight line graph of x equals 5 minus 3y intersects the x-axis at P and the y-axis at Q. Determine the coordinates of P and Q. Let's look at it over on this screen. Here is a straight line, intersects the x and y axis at P and Q. Let us just quickly draw an x-axis and a y-axis. All right. Now I'm going to draw this line. It seems as if it would have a negative gradient. So I'm going to draw it like this. Right? Now you don't necessarily have to draw this, but it helps. It gives an idea of what it is you are doing. The x-axis at P, the y-axis at Q. Those are the intersections. Now, when you have the x-axis, it crosses the x-axis. It crosses at y equals, you remember? 0. Good. If you remember that, that would help you to answer the question. And when the line crosses the y-axis, is the same as crossing the x-axis at x equals 0. Alright? Now, pause the video and work this out. Alright, you've done that, right? And remember, whether or not I ask you to pause the video, whether or not I remember, because sometimes I don't, you should really pause the video and try to work out the question or the part of the question that I'm going to work before I do it. Alright? Because you learn by doing. You have to practice. So now, it crosses the x-axis at y equals 0. What happens when y is equal to 0? X is equal to 5 minus 3 by 0, which is x is equal to 5. Alright? So when y is 0, x is equal to 5. So P is 5. It crosses the y-axis at x equals 0. What happens when x is 0? 0 is equal to 5 minus 3y. Therefore, you can say 5 minus 3y is 0. If you add 3y to both sides, or you can say 5 minus 5 is 0. So 3y must be equal to 5. That's another way of thinking about it. 3y must be equal to 5 because 5 minus this is 0. You know that 5 minus 5 is 0. So whatever is there must be 5. 3y is 5. Y is equal to 5 divided by 3. So it's 5/3. So Q is 5/3. So looking back at this, P, the coordinate of P, the coordinate of Q. Let me copy this and put it over here. So in this case now, P is x equals 5, y equals 0. Q is x is 0, y is 5/3. So that's what you would write when you calculate it, alright? And notice, you must show the working. They give you space to show the working here. And then you do the calculation. Alright? Part 2 says, calculate the length of PQ, giving your answer to 2 decimal places. Let me just copy and paste this part of the working over here. They want the length of PQ. Now, you have to remember how to calculate the length of a line given the coordinates. Alright? Let me put it a bit further up. Now, do you remember? If you do remember, I'm going to ask you to do the calculation. Pause the video and do the calculation. Alright, you did. You did that. Let us see what it could be. So remember, Q is at 0, 5 over 3. P is at 5, 0. Alright. Now, what this means is that this height is 5 over 3. It's like a triangle, you know. Let me redraw the triangle. Let's use this space over here. It's like you have this triangle here. Right? Just to remind us how you get that formula. This is 5/3 high and this is 5 long. So it's a right angle triangle, because right here will be a right angle. The intersection of the x and y axis is always at right angle in this, the Cartesian coordinate. How do you calculate the hypotenuse? You use Pythagoras theorem, right? It's the hypotenuse square is this side over here squared plus the next side squared. That's the length. Alright? Now, you also have another way of calculating it. When you're, well, it's really Pythagoras too, but you have a certain formula that you use, right? Let's call it L square. The length of the line squared would be x2 minus x1 squared. So that's the difference between the width or the base of the triangle plus, and then the height, y2 minus y1 squared. Alright, you could have used that if you wanted. Now here, the height, now let's calculate the height down here. The height squared is equal to 5 over 3. Well, this would have been 0 minus 5 over 3 r squared. That's why you didn't have any other number here, right? Because you're starting at 0. 0 is one of the points. So here now, 5 over 3 squared will be 25 over 9 minus 5, no, plus 5 squared is 25. 25 divided by 9 plus 25. Alright? Now, here, let's use our calculator to deal with this. What we have here, let's erase previous work done. 25 divided by 9 is what? That plus 25 equal 27.77. Alright, they asked us for 2 decimal places. So let's do our work at 3 or more decimal places, and then we're done. When we're done, we use our 2 decimal places. So 8 squared is 27.778. So h is what? H would be the square root of 27.778. So let's reach for our calculator again. Alright. Our calculator again. Alright, so the square root of that is what? The square root of that is 5.27. 5.27. Is centimeter? No, is unit. They didn't say centimeter. So it would be 5.27 units long. Alright? So that's what we have. 5.27 units long. Let me look back at the calculator and see what it had said. It was yeah, the rounding off is correct, 5.27 units long. Alright, what else is happening here? R is the midpoint of PQ. Determine the coordinates of R. Alright, so the midpoint, R is the midpoint. So we're supposed to find the midpoint R. So midpoint R. Where is it? Here. Let's say R is somewhere here. Now, remember now, you have a formula for calculating the midpoint when you're dealing with the x coordinates and the y coordinates here. Now, generally, you have this line, and this is, say, x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. What's the coordinates of the midpoint? Well, it's the average of the x plus the average of the y's. Alright? So it's x1 plus y, oh no, x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Alright? That will be the midpoint. It's like, suppose, for example, you have this line, and you have this being, say, 10 wide and 6 high. You expect the midpoint to be halfway up, halfway across. So it would be at y equal 3, x equal 5, right? So if you're starting at 0, just like we are doing here, it would be 6 plus 0 over 2, which gives us the 3. The x would be 10 plus 0 over 2, which will give us the 5, alright? So you see it works. So, here now, let's calculate the midpoint this way. Remember, we have the coordinates here, 5, 0 for one point and 0, 5 over 3 for the next point. So, the midpoint, R. What is R? It would be, if you call this x1, y1 and this x2, y2, no problem. 5 plus 0 divided by 2 for the x coordinates. The y coordinate would be y1 minus y1 plus y2, 0 plus 5 over 3 divided by 2. So this would be 2.5 comma, what is 5 over 3 divided by 2? 5 over 3 divided by 2 would be 5/6. 5 over 6. But since it's on a graph, let us put the value in terms of decimal. So what was it again? 5 over 6. 5 divided by 6 equals 0.83. So 0.83. So it's 2.5 comma 0. No. 0.83. Alright? That's for part 3 there. What else do they say we're supposed to do? Part B. Alright, part B is on functions. You have to be on functions and graph. So let us leave part B for another video.